Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Sauti Mzalendo, live TV news. Tonight, we are going to talk about gender-based violence, and I have our guest here, Beulah Mdoni. She's going to take us through as she is a gender-based activist. So Beulah, she's going to introduce herself and tell us more about gender-based violence. As you know, it is something that is a concern in the community, society, and all over the world. So today, we want to talk and tackle on it bit by bit. So stay there so that you can comment and share the video with your friends. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yes, long time, Bella.
So
how are you?
I'm good. I'm
okay.
well. Yeah.
Welcome.
It's
I'm
just
happy.
hot
Yeah.
in our country. It's January.
Okay.
It's very hot.
Mm.
Yeah, and my name is Beulah Mdoni. I'm a gender-based violence activist,
Yes.
as you've just said.
Yeah.
And first of all, before we start our today's topic, I would love to say hello to all my viewers. I know people are watching this live from Moranga County. And there is one person who has just called me here. He's called Son of Zion.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a great poetist.
Okay.
He writes poet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one day we will invite him.
Yeah, he's coming.
So he can come and join us here in the studio.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you. He writes very nice poems and very lovely poems. Yes. And he told me if I don't say hi to him, he's going to write a heartbreak and a very bad poem for me. So, Son of Zion, I know your friends from Political Battlefront. Thank you, and let's talk about gender-based violence today. Yes. Thank you so much.
Tell us more about gender-based violence. This is something that is going on through in our society to all the sex.
Yeah.
So can you please just, because I know you know more.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Well, so many people have been asking about gender-based violence.
Yes.
And before I talk, I just remembered someone who is my good friend. And I won't mention the name. Okay. He's a victim of gender-based violence. And so I would love us to share our story as well. I'm going to share my story very soon about gender-based violence.
Yes.
So gender-based violence, it does not only affect women, but also men. And in our society, people take gender-based violence that is only affecting women, where else even men are also affected. For instance, you get a family whereby the wife and the husband hawasikizani. Okay. And so the wife, there was a video trending sometimes back whereby the wife was trying to stab the man, and the man was trying to seek for justice, and everybody concluded that the man is the one who is having a problem. So gender-based violence, I would love our people to understand that it does not only affect women, but also
both sex.
Yeah, both genders. Yeah.
So that perspective that, maybe it is for only women, no, it is for both.
Yeah.
So as we tackle today, we need to talk and we need all our viewers to understand it well. It is not only women, it is for both sex.
Yeah. And thank you so much. Yeah. So, and there are several forms of gender-based violence. Number one is sexual violence. We have psychological violence.
Yes.
We have several types of gender-based violence. Sexual violence. Psychological, whereby you have your money, but your psychology, maybe there was a childhood trauma that you went through. The African families. Let me not say Kenyan. In Africa, we have a
lot of problems, family matters, and all over. Yeah.
So you find whereby even economic, especially in our country, we are suffering from economic crisis.
Yes.
So you find someone it's also a form of gender-based violence. So I'm going to state several types of gender-based violence. For instance, if it's domestic violence, it's whereby we have a wife and a husband and they still fight every day. And so that action of fighting is a domestic violence. We also have human violence, or whereby human trafficking. And I would love our people to know about human trafficking. It's not all about body trafficking or organ trafficking. This is whereby the government can take a group of people in Kenya, because now we are desperate, we don't have jobs,
Yes.
and I take them to a country whereby those people are going to be
thinking that they are going to for greener pasture,
yeah,
not knowing they are going into trouble.
Yeah.
And because they are going outside Kenya,
Yeah.
they will just say, oh, let me go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So
we should be very, very careful with this.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we have whereby the government, let me say, we had seen we call it Kasongo government. It's not hatred,
You
but
guys,
yeah.
but anyway, he embraced it, so it is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had the Kasongo government, for instance, and they wanted to take people to the I don't know where they wanted the countries, the Arabic countries.
Yes.
They were saying there were job opportunities. Of course, I'm not saying that people who are there don't work.
Yeah.
But for instance, a group of people comes and tells you, Lillian,
Yeah.
I'm going. I want a 10 group of people like youths, and I want to take them to a particular country. Instead of taking them there to work,
Yes.
they get there. They get their slaves, and some of them, like our ladies, are taken there. They have
for abuses, things like those. Not, innocently, not knowing
what they want.
What they are going to expect.
Yeah. So you find a lady is forced to sleep with a dog or to have sexual intercourse with a dog.
Yeah.
So that is another type of violence, and the government doesn't take such things seriously. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And so that is what we call human trafficking. You take people from one place to another for slave, for abuse, for sexual intercourses. So, and sometimes even you make them do some very imaginable things that you can never want or you can never imagine.
Yeah.
Also, we have other types of violence. We have economic violence, especially in our country, Kenya.
Yes.
We are suffering from
economical.
Yeah.
To add on that, Beula, sorry to cut you short.
No worries.
You know, this economical based violence is very, very common, and it is increasing now.
Yeah.
And foreign, or maybe she went to visit a boyfriend.
Yeah.
All is gender-based violence.
Yeah.
They are following money. As we said, economic crisis. So they
in the country currently, like last year, but one you find, for example, avocado. Let's say the simple things. Avocado was 10 bob. Next time you go, it's 20 bob, and you just wonder how it's so there is that economic crisis, or let me say economic crisis, and sometimes it comes with the denial of funds. On this point, today in our very beautiful county, Murang'a, there's our women rep who went and took money.
Okay.
I was just wondering, it's outside the context. I was just asking myself, thinking about the current system of education, the CBC.
Yes.
Our able or the current women rep. She's called Betty Maina.
Yeah.
She was sent 3 million by Kindiki to go and give some schools to build toilets. But our worry is not about the toilets, because the toilets are not in good condition. How can you just take 3 million to pupils, or to pupils who can't afford even a meal a day in the school, who can't, because why are you building those toilets? So depending on the economic crisis, that is economic violence, and it's also a type of gender-based violence. So I was just asking myself, the students, the pupils, or the parents are suffering because of the CBC.
Yes.
You find yourself, like for example, your Anthony comes to school and tells you, Mom, kesho tumeambiwa tuende tu na vitabu fulani hivi, and you don't have the money. When we are suffering from the economic crisis, it's not the best decision to go and start building toilets for people who don't even.
He could have donated it for books, things like those in school, or maybe even a simple lunch for students.
The other thing about gender-based violence, it's about psychological violence. This comes about by threats, intimidations, and also emotional abuse. So the moment I come and tell you, Lillian Wambua, your life is in danger. So you have, as a normal human being, you'll start saying, you start having psychological distress, and sometimes even suffer from psychological torture, and have some of the mental disorders like post-traumatic stress disorder. So it's kind of psychological. It comes about by threats, intimidations, So it's also a form of gender-based violence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Beula, for all those points. Do you still have more?
Yeah, on gender-based violence, those were just the forms of gender-based violence. We have the effects, and
Okay.
of course, if something has an effect, it has a solution.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So some of these effects include, we said, domestic violence, sexual effects,
Yeah.
sexual economic violence. Some of these effects are brought about early childhood marriage.
Okay.
Yeah. So the moment, before I go to the effect, there is sexual violence, whereby it comes about by raping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sexual.
It is part of like abuse, is it?
Yeah, it's abuse and it's a violence. It's a gender-based violence. So
Okay.
yeah.
So all this maybe, as you said,
Yeah.
it comes from like early marriages.
Exactly.
Because there's some families, they can't afford to educate their children.
Yeah.
Then they run out of school.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we get whereby a girl at the age of 16, she's forced to get married.
Yeah.
And once she's forced to get married, she of course, they must have sexual intercourse with the husband.
Yes.
And the girl doesn't have any knowledge or any protective measure.
Mm.
So that girl is at risk of contracting some diseases like the HIV and also other reproductive or the diseases that people do get, the STIs.
Yes.
Because had you the measures to take, because she's still
a child. Yeah.
Yeah. So the effects are such as childhood marriage. So people are forced to get childhood. The other thing is about whereby FGM. FGM is whereby female are circumcised.
Yes.
So some of these people who take actions or who circumcise, let me just say who circumcised, they are not professional. So they use the equipments they're using, they're not even sterile. So the moment you are used to one girl and to another one, that person is at risk
of transmitted diseases from one person to another.
So and some people are not even professional, so they do it not in a good way. So they find themselves contracting, and some bleed, even leading to death. So these are some of the effects. Let's talk about also some effects in this before we go to the solution, because if something has an effect, it has a solution. Yeah. So the other thing is about mental issues, as we said about psychological violence, mental issues. Get a situation whereby someone is suffering from mental disorders or mental stress, and you just go outside there and you can just do something to harm someone and you kill that person, so you've murdered someone. Yes. So having that mental issue is also a part, it's an effect or it's a cause.
It's a cause. It can lead to something bigger.
Yeah. So you get yourself, you maybe you even have the mental stress because of the economic, family issues, relationship issues,
maybe financial issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the moment you have those types of the stress disorder, let me say so, you find yourself doing so weird things that later on are going to lead even to getting arrested.
Not knowing the consequences.
Wow,
that's good.
Thank you. So we have several other effects.
Yes.
Not only mental disorders, because most of us are suffering from mental disorders silently.
Yes.
And sometimes you tend not to go tell your friends that you're suffering from something, because you get you're afraid of someone going to share your story. Yeah. So the moment someone has shared your story to another person, you find yourself like, now who will I ever trust? Because you don't know what to say or who to approach. So when you have the mental disorder, it can also have some effects like committing suicide, because you've shared your story to one person, then stories inaenea, and then you find yourself as like you're embarrassing yourself, so you end up committing suicide because of the unaanza kujirudisha, like, why am I suffering?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's, as a normal human being, until you speak out, you can end up in desperation and committing suicide. And also, when you have the mental issues that can bring it's caused by gender-based violence and psychological violence, you can the productivity reduces. For example, if you're a business person, you're not able to talk to your clients, not able to sell your things, so
you won't have that morale.
You don't have that morale
of going to look for stuff and engaging.
So you won't have that morale of going to engage someone, buy he, so you find yourself even rude to your clients without knowing. So the productivity, there is reduced productivity for business. For instance, you're a teacher. I love using teacher because I wanted to become one, but mipango ya God. Mipango ya God.
So you are not able to, but you can still be. You're still young anyway. Also, still have chance.
I still have. Everything in our language. You say I'm going to tell you what it means later. Sisi ni watu wa mlima, lazima
tuongee kidogo
mlima.
That's good. That's good.
So in terms of effects also, we have effects like I'm trying to we have some effects whereby poverty poverty can lead to so many things like early childhood sometimes, because you are living and I'm from maybe Masai land and you get a some cultures do so mpaka wana book bwana
without you knowing,
because of ile shida iko kwa hiyo familia. So poverty is also a leading factor to gender based violence. So many girls are forced to early marriages. So as we said before, that when you're forced to early marriages, you get you are at risk of even getting contracting some diseases because you don't know the measures to take. So and also you get unwanted pregnancies because at the end of age of 15 years you start getting pregnancy because of early marriages. You find yourself in trouble. Some people are not able to adhere with the situation, so you find yourself
sometimes you'll be forced to marry an old man.
Hapo kwa old man. Ukisema hivyo huku Kenya, you know they are saying wababas. So hapo kwa old man.
So they want wababas. Okay. they want to carry the wababas.
Exactly. So hapo kwa old men, we don't want that to happen to our girls. But sometimes I do blame our parents, especially for the campus girls. You find yourself sometimes in a situation, because I've been there in college and I could listen to people's confession. I do blame our parents because you find a girl anaambia mzazi, hi mom, I don't have some food, and mom anakuambia sasa nitafanya aje, instead of even giving the child hope. Unaona? So
which is so sad.
So the lady will end up getting money from these people we are calling wababas. So situation sometimes leads, but we do not want our girls to end up there. And our girls, if your parents tells you hana pesa, just try to understand. With the current economic crisis, especially those in universities and colleges, they are not getting even the capitation money. So ile pesa ulikuwa unapata ya help ama the new model funding system that I had in the help, I think it arudisha, I'm not so sure about it.
They said they are going to return it in a different way.
But now you can imagine a parent akona watoto wawili university, hiyo ni kazi hakuna, the production rate imekuwa chini. Farmers ndo hao wamefinyiliwa kwa sababu I remember I've actually remembered Kindiki was saying ile wakati ile mambo Ruto amefanya na 2 years ndo Kibaki alifanya na 5 years. But now I would ask ourselves to ask this question. During Kibaki's time, the production, the agricultural field or farming was embraced. So wazazi walikuwa napata pesa zao on time, kama ni za maziwa, kama ni za majani chai, kama ni za coffee, and any other, kama ni za, we call it jaba ama mogoka, all those cash crop that different regions grow. They used to get their money on time, and education was free. So people didn't struggle getting paying school fees. You also remember people didn't struggle paying that school fees. So the new model funding, people are really struggling, and that's why you find a parent or the parents are not able to cater for everything the girls want, because of course kuna ile maisha ukienda shule, you want that life. You want to be, when you don't eat food, you want to concentrate in the class. So the moment you ask your parents, kama uko na hii pesa unisaidie, mzazi aseme hana, you have no alternative as a human being but trying to find out other ways. And that's why most of the girls,
they fall into that trap of
so
wababas.
they fall into that trap. So as parents, let's try as much as possible to encourage our girls and tell them, today I don't have this money, but kesho yake nitapata hii pesa. So those are some of the challenges.
And also, it is not only the parents. Even we, like the young girls who are in university, they should also know that their parents are struggling. At this time, the economy is not good at all, as we said. So they should also know how to take it easy.
So the other thing about the courses, we have a very poor government in Kenya. I must admit that. And we should say what there is, no sugarcoating. And gone are the days that we used to fear, saying that the government is poor, or fearing to speak out what we are going through. So I must say this: we must condemn the poor governance, the government in Kenya, whereby when you face when you are undergoing it's among the causes, when you are undergoing gender-based violence, you go and report this matter to the police, and instead of the police listening to your case, the other person who maybe was raping, for example, man, God forbid, was raping your girl, once you report her once you report the person, because you don't have money, and the person who made that action have money, they go and bribe. So the government should at least make let me say framework and policies to defend both parties, kwa sababu you find that justice in Kenya, it's like unanunua justice.
Let's say like munyonge asidhulumiwe. Because munyonge akidhulumiwa because of money, then everything will be worse.
Absolutely. So we've said about the effects. So there's some things that have to strengthen the gender-based violence, or some things that can help those people who are undergoing gender-based violence to get their justice. As we said before, they are like rape and childhood, and programs that are going to stop the childhood. So we have some of the things or the solution that we can.
So just to ask, what does the Kenya government laws says about or protects gender-based violence?
Well, you've got a very good point, or a very good question, and that is very nice of you. Number one, the Kenyan government, as I said before, it's somehow weak because they have no let me say they have no policy that are protecting both parties. And we are in a situation whereby, or in the current world we are living, especially in our country or in African country, we're in the current world that whereby if you have money you can do anything, and there are no policies, as I said before, or framework that are going to protect us against people who are victims of gender-based violence. So I would ask the government to strengthen the laws and ensure that there is strict enforcement. So the moment I, as Bila, have gone to report a certain case to the police because my girl, for instance, was raped, or one of my family relatives was taken to a country whereby that person is. We have been seen on news whereby our girls are being misused, or in other countries.
They don't have any voice.
They don't have any voice. The moment they go to the ambassador, they do nothing about it.
And I heard they even take their passports. They hide them. So it's like torture. So Deula, being activist of gender-based violence, what are you doing, like organizations?
For instance,
because I know you have an organization.
Thank you. I have an organization. It's called Bilamudani Foundation.
Yes.
And mostly this one is not measuring about gender-based violence. But as time goes, we are going to have an organization whereby we are going to create a platform for people the victims who are going to speak out about gender-based violence. Currently, we have a foundation. It's called Bilamudani Foundation, and we have our social media handles.
Yes.
Mostly it's dealing with the mental human rights and mental victims of mental illness. Yeah, so
Okay.
taking them to rehabilitation centers, and also trying to get justice for the people who are actually, it's related to gender-based violence because it's all about human rights and
Yes.
mental
You
health.
do counseling too?
Yeah, we do counseling about mental health issues, and we offer services.
Okay.
And currently we have one. It's just a new program. We have one who we are taking to the rehab center, and
Okay.
after that one, we are going to call her. We are going to call him here.
For to join us at Sauti
Yeah,
Mzalendo
to
TV
Sauti
News.
Mzalendo, so that he
Yes.
can give hope to other
To
people
other people.
who are, most of these people who have mental disorders, not all, but a certain percentage, it's
Yes.
because of alcoholism. Okay, generally, it's because of drug abuse. Yeah, so you find yourself you're into actions or acts that are not you don't want to do, but
You
because
find yourself because of your mental health.
Absolutely.
It leads you to do something.
Yeah. So about the solution, as we said, we have effects or the causes. Something, if something has an effect, absolutely lazima ikuwe na solution, si ndio?
Yes.
So we have some of
So what are these solutions?
we have some of these solutions. As we said before, the government should come up with a policy and a strong policy and an enforcement that is going to protect the victims of gender-based violence. Because, as I said before, instead of these people who are expecting wakuja kwa forefront and helping the victims to fight against gender-based violence. For instance, I've just remembered there was last year, late last year, there was a general femicide, I think, awareness.
Yes.
And instead, it was a very shocking story in a very sad state in Nairobi. Instead of these people, the police protecting these protesters, because it was all about gender-based violence and killing of our women. We've been hearing stories our women are being killed.
Yes.
The police were at the forefront line, wakawarushia tear gas, whereby people are trying to speak out, and we are in a very I don't know how to say, but we're in a situation whereby in Kenya, if you try to speak out, you're either killed, abducted, because of condemning them.
Was it a peaceful one?
Yeah, it was a peaceful one. Even the Gen Z, it was a peaceful one, but once gava imeanza kufukuza watu, then it's not a peaceful demonstration.
But Bella, during that Gen Z, let me take you back a little bit. That time I saw some Gen Zs inside the parliament. How comes they went into the parliament?
Well,
because they had to break the gate and get in.
Sometimes
was that peaceful?
It was peaceful because let me tell you how peaceful it was. These people, when this maandamano was beginning, they were so peaceful and they could not destroy other people's. And the only thing they had is water, mask, and their phones. Yeah, and in fact, I was going to the maandamano because I'm not just going to, speaking out it. Like, we have freedom of speech in our country, and it's a right to speak out. If something is not right, it's not good. We call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
And we were into a situation whereby we cannot hold that thing because we are all suffering.
Yes.
So the Gen Zs or the youths had to go outside there, because now wao wanateseka zaidi pia because of lack of jobs. And the policy that the government is bringing is not even favoring them. Okay. So walikuwa wanaenda huko, and the government was using force kuwarudisha nyumbani, or silencing them. So instead of the government listening to them, it was silencing them by using tear gas, shooting them, and abducting them. You find sometimes some bodies were being recovered in a dump site, in sacks. It was a very, very shocking story. Yeah. Also in Githurai, there was so many people who were killed just because of people trying to speak out and condemnation of the bad governance. Okay. So for me, I could say the protests were peaceful, but the government was trying to silence them, because now they can say hapa kuna danger. Unajua, the youth are not they say the youth are the future tomorrow, but that time they were the future now. That was the future.
Okay.
So wakona hapa kimeumana, so they had to use all means to silence them and to shoot them and maybe threat them, because that is a form of threat, and it's also gender-based violence, because once you try to speak out and someone is just shooting you, someone is just killing you and abducting you, so that person is trying to silence you, and so that can later bring gender psychological violence, because I don't know how one will ever erase that thing in their memories, especially for us who are on the streets. It's very hard to erase such memories. And before we go to the government, how the government should take place, we have some of the how should I say, the effects, the solution now. And in our country, it's no, we have the best country. We have the best country, but some of the these things are so funny, because you find one of the other solution is providing shelter.
Yes.
So for the moment this girl has to come to tell you nimefukuzwa shule, nimefukuzwa kwetu, nimeambiwa niende niolewe. You tell her it's your life, go get married, but instead of protecting that child, like providing shelter, like generally what I want to mean is we should provide shelter, or the government should provide shelter to these people who are the gender-based violence victims. You also provide counseling and legal how should I say,
take legal actions in case of something like that happens.
You report, you must seek for legal justice, you must seek for legal reporting, and also we as the people of Kenya, we try to prevent gender-based violence. As I said before, it's not only for women, but also men are also suffering. And encouraging the community, or involving the community in this thing of preventing. So once
like activities,
so you should even educate them. You should educate the community, because most of us don't know about these things. You should educate the community about about effects of gender-based violence.
Okay, all right. No, okay, now let's read the comments. We have our comments here.
So
and we are going to.
And before we read the comments, I would like to quote a certain act in the government.
Yes.
The Kenya government has laws against gender-based violence, such as Sexual Offences Act 2006, and Protection Against Domestic Violence Act 2015. But the enforcement remains a challenge. Why? Because we've said we have a corrupt government. So in this act, the Kenyan government doesn't take it very seriously. So we should always refer to this act, because once you go there, this person.
And also I think the groups, there's a lot of organizations, isn't it?
We have several organizations in Kenya.
If they can come up and join hand and support.
And also we should help improve we should help the survivors of gender-based violence.
That's good.
That is about the government. The government should help the survivors or offer support services. For example, we said counseling. There is we have several counseling or meditation centers in Kenya. For instance, we have pro-care counseling. If you go online, if you need any form of counseling, psychological, the government should embrace or have ways to support these survivors of gender-based violence. And we should also improve the support services. For example, as I said before, the shelters. The government should have should secure these people.
Make them secure.
Because you never know if you get back there what you're going to go through that. So they should increase the number of rescue centers in Kenya, because we have realized we don't have I think we don't have we just have few number of secure centers, the rescue secure centers for these victims. So because if someone tried to kill you and you survived, you can never go back to that person,
because if you go back, who knows, maybe the person might kill you. So it's good. Those are good points.
And as we said before, these people should have an access to medical services. so that they can get the psychological counseling,
yes,
because most of them have that traumatic trauma.
yes,
Because I remember one day I was also a victim of gender-based violence, and that's why I love talking about gender-based violence, because it still comes or rings into my mind.
my
So
mind.
if I'm not careful with my mental health, I might end up becoming one of the we say schizophrenia. You just go correcting my character. So
We are praying that is not going to happen.
yeah, so yeah, it's not going to happen.
We don't,
Yeah, so the government should ensure that these people are acquiring free medical services, because, for example, before they recover and they start working, they will not have that energy. So I would ask the government to help these people have free medical services. And on this point, it's not only the gender-based violence victims, but everybody, because in our country, especially the thing called SHA. Hii ni kitu ambayo it's called SHA, social health whatever, social health authorities.
Yes.
They have brought about this SHA,
SHA.
and it's not favoring
It
most
has
of us.
replaced HIF.
Yeah, so and before when this SHA was coming, I used to think that
It will be
of great
more
help.
better than NHF.
Yeah, so I used to think SHA is going to be of great help, or it's going to do better, but unfortunately the government has told us that it's not working after spending 104 billion on it. So in this case of free medical services to the gender-based violence survivors, the free medical services should
come in to help.
And should cut across everyone. Because I don't understand how you have an insurance cover and you're also paying for the SHA, and so unakatwa pesa mingi, but generally this SHA should be free, because you are paying for that SHA. Unaenda hosi and you're not even afraid that even if I get diagnosed with cancer, tutaanza kuchanga huko. This thing should cater for every condition. So as we said there before about gender-based violence survivors, they should get access to free medical services, like the counseling and psychological, and some they go to get services from the psychiatric.
Yes.
And also we also said about strengthening the law in our country, the policies for
to protect
these culprits, and the perpetrators should get what the consequences after being involved in gender-based violence. So we also need to utilize the data, utilizing the data and technology response. So the government should have a technology whereby people are airing out the issue against gender-based violence. So hata ukienda kusema fulani who was involved in gender-based violence, they won't know it's you or it's me who reported the case. So the government should have a hotline services, for example, like we have services for 911 for the police. So it should have a hotline services whereby people are going to
call in case something happens.
So it should have a hotline services for people to go and speak out on, in case you find someone is being violated, or someone is being raped. You don't have to scream, but just call
the number.
But now, before we get to hotline services, I remember the incidents in Meru last week, whereby a comrade was killed, and they tried calling the ambulance, only the ambulance to come after 3 hours, and the person had died. So before we get there, we should have
people to do like a first aid.
So that guy just died. So my question is, ambulance ingekuwa ready, wanapigwa kuja hapo ambue it's emergency, maybe that we could have saved the life of that. So before we get to hotline services, let's ensure that we have enough resources. Kama ni gari za askari zikuwe enough, and they have to respond on time, because in Kenya we have people who don't. We delay things so much. So the moment nimekuambia hello, I'm calling from one, and I have an emergency, not fire no war, but it's a gender-based violence.
They don't take it serious.
They don't take it serious. So I would request the government to come up with ways of supporting these people. If it's hotline services, they make sure that wasileta hotline services bila the ways of ama zile gari zinakuja kuja ku rescue these people. So this could really work for the people. And we have money called the GAF.
Yes.
This is the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, and this money should be used to increase programs that are funding gender-based violence. But most of the money for GAF, National Government Affirmative Funds, they are used not in the best way. Like huko kwetu tunapewa the hives for the bee. Yeah, we call it beehives. No. Yeah.
So where does this money goes then?
These for instance, our women rep. She do give people beehives, and instead of supporting such activities, it's very sad. It's very, very sad for that. And this money called GAF, it's allocated to women, mostly women representative. And instead of them using the money in the right way, wanaenda kujenga choo, wanaenda kupeana beehives, or they do things that are not even making an impact in the society. Okay. Instead of supporting these programs like gender-based violence,
make sure they have enough offices, enough ambulances in case of police around. They go to do some things. It's not bad projects, but I don't think the money should be directed to that way.
So this money, like the national the GAF, the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, should be directed to other important issues, supporting such programs for the victims of gender-based violence. They can work even with the society, with a certain NGO to support these victims, because many are the victims that are going through such situation, but they don't know where to go, because hata wakienda huko hawana pesa,
so they just stay silently.
Wakifinyiliwa.
Okay.
And the government should also eliminate these people in the community, and eliminate corruption as well, and impunity. And the government should prevent the officers, the police officers, who are handling these cases from corruption.
Okay.
If you said that they should eliminate, because the moment you corrupt, in fact, the government should come up with a way of Kenyans paying their things, instead of kwenda kulipana hii 50 bob huko unalipana, for example, huko kwa barabara, and that's why you have so many cases of road accidents, despite of us overspeeding. Unapata unaendesha gari, insurance haina, license
so you go unapeana 10,000 when you continue with your journey.
So the government should eliminate these corrupted police officers, and generally eliminate corruption and impunity, because these people get bribe, and kama nimekukongea gari yako, mimi nikishapeana 3,000 mimi nakuja,
so which is so bad.
So and it's kind of it's intimidating the victims of such who are undergoing gender-based violence. So
so there's a lot to tackle on.
There's a lot to tackle on gender-based violence. And there's a lot we can do about gender-based violence.
Okay. So as we said, you've been in this field for some time, and you understand everything. What advice can you give the youth, the society? It's not only the youth, because this is something that it has to be done with everybody around, in the community, society around, parents with their children, anyone around, relatives, because some of them, they even happen from someone being abused by a relative. So what can you put in together? Like, what advice can you give our viewers today?
Number one, as I said before, about the hotline services. If the government have hotline services, we are able to reach out to the people who are in charge of gender-based violence victims. We can reach out to them and maybe call and rescue lives. So before we get there, when you see someone who is struggling, who is undergoing gender-based violence, as we said there, it's not all about sexual harassment.
No.
It's even economic crisis, psychologically. So once you get someone who is undergoing these sexual or
gender-based or gender-based, any form of gender-based violence,
they should report it to the legal offices and try their best to seek legal justice for those people. Let's speak out. Let's not be afraid of keeping quiet, because we know the current government we have, and I'm going to repeat this as well. Once you try to speak out, once you try to condemn the bad governance, they try to arrest you, they try to kidnap you, they try to abduct you,
Mm.
and even they go to a point whereby they are going to kill you so that they can silence you from not saying what you wanted to say. So if you find people who are suffering from or the gender-based violence survivors, let's always support them
Yes.
psychologically. Let's always offer them what we can.
Yeah.
And when we do this, we are going to reduce the cases of gender-based violence, and more of that the government itself should lead on the forefront line, or should take praise to support these people who are undergoing gender-based violence.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Viola.
Yeah.
So do you have more, or we can read our views, comments, the comments of our views?
So before
or you have something?
Before we we end our session,
Yes.
I'd love to say hi to my friends. There's a girl called Mugadige.
Wow.
Mugadige is a Kikuyu name. She's my good friend. We have people like Sarafina, Jambi.
Wow.
This Jambi, we call her the senior or the admin of Muranga Political Battlefront.
I know they are hearing you. They are listening and watching.
Yeah, they are listening to us.
Yes.
They were here.
Yeah.
Listening about gender-based violence.
Yes.
So I'd love to say and my good brand ambassador called Professor Cherry and Kamau. Yeah, these people have been doing a good job for me.
Yes.
Also in my foundation, they are doing very well.
Yes.
They are the brand ambassadors of the foundation as well. And we also do great things together.
Yeah, and also I will thank them because they are good boys.
Yeah.
They are working hard towards Pihoa Network.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Cherry and John and everybody, all my viewers, because I know you also come to Pihoa Network.
Yeah.
To watch our videos.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for watching today's episode. We're going to meet next time.
Yeah, we are going to meet next time.
Yeah.
And shall we read the comments or we leave it?
It's all right.
Yeah?
Yeah, we can read the comments.
You can read. Help me to read it, please.
All right.
Yeah.
So we have Mudhoni Patrick.
Yes.
Chukwatundi Jemedali from Raradia What? He's a good friend of mine. We call him Jemedali.
Okay.
Because God.
Is it he or she? He's Jemedali of what?
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
He's a brand ambassador of Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. There are so many people who are watching us, and someone is saying, "Why are African ladies beautiful?" Thank you so much. So
are we beautiful, really?
We are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
thank you very much.
We are not going to read all the comments today.
Yes. Yeah. But to continue reading them and we'll make them engaged. We'll discuss about them. So we thank you all, our viewers, for today. Yeah. And we are happy. So welcome again.
Thank you so much for watching us.
Thank you.